to the Trademark Like a Boss show. I am Radiance Harris, founder and managing attorney of Radiance IP Law, and I help emerging businesses protect, monetize, and grow profitable brands with trademarks. If you are watching live, say hello, interact with me. This is a solo show today. So I would love the engagement here. So I feel like I'm not just talking to myself. If you watch the replay, drop that hashtag replay so I know that you tuned in. So today is an exciting show. I am sharing 6 things or 6 lessons learned in the 6 years I've been in business with Radiance IP Law. Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy, exciting journey. I can't believe that I've been in business this long. November 30th will be our 6-year anniversary. And it's exciting because statistics show SBA, according to SBA, I think 20% of startups fail within the first year. 50% of businesses fail within 5 years. And then 33% of businesses fail by 10 years. So I'm still in this game over 5 years. So that is a blessing in itself. Just to give you a little quick synopsis about my journey into Radiance IP Law. So I launched the firm in November of 2015 after working I worked at a major global law firm for about 4.5, 5 years. And then I went to a small intellectual property boutique law firm for about a year, year and a half. So I did the big law thing, represented the big corporations that you know and love today. I would help protect and enforce their trademark rights. For the most part, had a good experience working at the law firms. I was just kind of burnt out and tired of working for someone and not having the freedom to live and be and do what I wanted to do and live life according to my own terms. I also wasn't really that fulfilled helping the big corporations get richer and richer. It just wasn't fulfilling to me. And I often noticed that I was sending cease and desist letters and initiating lawsuits against small business owners at that time because it seemed like the small business owners lacked the education and of the importance and value of intellectual property for their small businesses. Like it just wasn't registering that they had valuable intellectual property that they can and should protect, and also that they needed to, respect other people's intellectual property. So that was one of the things that inspired me to start Radiance IP Law. So I basically left the last law firm I was at in July of 2015, took a few months off to kind of just figure out what my next move was. To be honest, I thought I was done with the law. When I left the last firm I was at in July 2015, I thought I was done with the law. Like I was like, what do I do next? And so I took a few months to kind of just figure out what was going on, what I wanted to do. I was still out and about networking with people and figuring out kind of what I wanted to do. And it would be funny because I'd be out networking because that's kind of what I knew and I did. And I'd say, oh, I used to be a trademark attorney. I'd be like, oh, I used to be a trademark attorney. And they'd be like, oh, really? I need someone like you. This happened I would say 3 consecutive times when I was out and someone was saying, oh, I need someone like you. I need a trademark attorney. I was like, oh, really? And so I was like, God, are you saying something to me? Like, what are you saying here? So that kind of inspired me to launch Radiance IP Law. I literally launched it within a week of that happening. I went and got my business incorporated, got my malpractice insurance. I got I got my Wix website put up, sent out this huge email blast to everyone I knew saying Radiance IP Law is open for business and here's what we're doing, now accepting clients. So I did that November 30th, 2015. And then I ended up going to South Africa for 10 days with family. So I went out and took, just enjoyed vacation, enjoyed life. And then when I came back, I had my first client. Yes, had my first client within a week actually of opening and launching Radiance IP Law, which was very exciting. And so that was kind of the start of Radiance IP Law. But I did want to share with you kind of my personal lessons that I've learned from just being in business for 6 years. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. There are ebbs and flows, there are highs and lows, but there are definitely a lot of lessons that I've learned along the way. So I wanted to share those with you all today. So the first lesson I want to share with you is that your mindset is everything. I don't think that this was something that I really understood and appreciated until probably the last 2 to 3 years of being in business. I didn't really understand how important what you think, what you believe about yourself, your abilities, your business, success of your business, the value that you bring to the world is so instrumental to how not only you show up, how people perceive you, whether they want to hire you. There's just something extremely important, unlike anything else, is the mindset. The mindset that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to, the belief in yourself, the belief that you have value, it's amazing. And so that's something I didn't really understand or appreciate until a few years ago. And I will tell you that from my experience, those businesses that are really killing it, those business owners who are killing it, doing really well, it's because of that mindset. Like, I don't know too many business owners who are really thriving, who haven't been doing the personal development, haven't really been working on themselves, or not doing self-care. Like, all of that goes into being an entrepreneur, because there are so many ups and downs and emotional roller coasters, where one day you're feeling on top of the world, the next day you're in the fetal position. So it's like that mindset is everything to keep yourself going. So that is the first lesson. Your mindset is everything. Do whatever you need to feed yourself those positive thoughts, positive affirmations, to keep yourself focused and grounded, to keep going, pursuing your dreams, pursuing your goals, no matter what is thrown your way. So the second lesson that I've learned is Profit First. Profit First is a book actually by Michael Milakowicz or something. I can't pronounce his last name, but it's an awesome book. Profit First. If you haven't read it, you should read it. I read that book, I think, within the first year of being in business, and it was completely mind-changing in the sense that it really encouraged me to focus on having a profitable business. A lot of people go into business and it's not profitable. They're always putting money back into the business. They're losing money left and right. But from the start, I really tried to keep my expenses and my overhead low. I did, though, I would say I've fallen into traps throughout the years where, because certain people or advisors say, do this, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that, and just you get all this stuff, and you're like, I don't really need all that. Like, I don't really need all that. Like, I've learned that it's best to keep things as simple and streamlined as possible. You don't need to be offering 20 different services. You don't need to have like 4 or 5 different systems. Like, really keep everything as streamlined as possible to ensure that your overhead stays low, that your business is profitable, and that you're actually able to pay yourself and you're able to live off of that, and you're not struggling. Yeah, the first few years of business can definitely be a struggle for new entrepreneurs, but you don't want that to be what it is throughout the whole entrepreneurship journey, where you're like always struggling. So Profit First is definitely something I would encourage you to do, and keep your expenses as low as possible. Take an inventory of, looking at your expenses, looking at what you are spending money on. Is it moving the needle? Are you getting ROI? Is it really necessary? And so take that inventory. I do that. I take that inventory at least quarterly to look at stuff like, do I really need this? Like, it's costing me more than it's bringing me in, so you definitely want to do those evaluations regularly to ensure that you have a profitable business. The third lesson I learned is, don't take business advice from everybody. Don't take business advice from everybody. As a rule, I only really will take business advice from someone who is where I want to be. If that person is not where you want to be or where you want your business to go in life, you should not be taking business advice from them. You have no idea how many people come to me and they say, oh, I didn't get a trademark because a friend of mine said not to get it. I'm like, who's your friend? Are they a trademark attorney? Where's their business? Like, you just got to be really careful about who you take business advice from. In the course of the 6 years, I've worked with several business coaches. Some were a good fit, others not so much. And that's just a part of the game. Sometimes you take the gamble and you work with people and have these certain advisors and you realize it's not a good fit, you're not on the same page. And so it's really important to really only take business advice from those who are where you want to be. If they're not, don't listen to what they have to say, just point blank, period. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. Lesson 4, do what your competitors aren't doing. So when I started Radiance IP Law 6 years ago, I looked in research to see like what are the smaller firms doing, and I did the complete opposite. So all of the firms were basically they'd all use their last name as like their law offices of James Brown or something. I was like, boring, not happening. We're going to do Radiance IP Law. So I did that completely different from what everyone. I actually took a word, which happens to be my first name, and made that the name of my law practice. The bright colors that I used, the yellows and stuff, were also colors that weren't typically used with law firms. A lot of lawyers showed up really stuffy with the suits and just boring. I actually got rid of most of my suits when I launched my firm. I didn't want to come across that way in my branding. Most firms at that time were doing hourly billing. I said, no, we're going to do all-inclusive flat rates. That's what we've done, all-inclusive flat rates, because other firms were not doing it. So as you see, there are a number of things that my competitors were doing that I decided not to do because I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be different. And so we did. When I started the firm back in 2016, at that time we've always done trademarks, do copyrights. We were doing a lot more, I think you would say, like contracts and like business formation. So we were doing like a lot more other business related things. As time passed, we've niched down to really just focusing on trademarks. So about 90% of the work that we do is trademarks. I would say 90 to 95%. And then we do a little bit of copyright and a little bit of licensing, but majority of the work that we do is trademarks. And so the other thing I realized, like my competitors weren't necessarily niching down. A lot of times you had these like jack of all trades law firms that have this, and this out of fear that they wouldn't get business if they niched down too much. So I made the decision 3 years ago, actually, to just niche down and focus primarily on trademarks. And that's when I actually started making more money, when we niche down. So it's important to really look at and see what are your competitors currently doing and what can you do differently that sets your firm apart from them and stands out. Lesson number 5, track your business metrics. So it's really important to look at who's your ideal client, where are they finding you, what products and services are you offering, how much money, how much of each of those products and services are a part of your revenue or the revenue breakdown, what's bringing in the most, what's bringing in the least. It's important to track those business metrics so that you know how you're spending your time, how you're spending your money, and if it's translating into revenue for your business. I know that we do that, we keep track, and it's important to do that because sometimes you might be offering a certain product or service that isn't really bringing in a lot of revenue, but yet you're using your resources to provide that or support that. And so you'll find that in business, you're doing a lot of trial and error, you're trying things out, you might be, moving things back. It's a constant trial and error. And you just keep doing that until something sticks, right? And so in order to measure how things are doing, you got to keep track. So you got to track your business metrics. It is so important to look beyond just how much money I brought in the door, but how are people finding us? Where are they finding us? What's doing the best? Which marketing is working the best for you? You want to keep track of all of those things because that'll help you move the needle and really focus on the stuff that's going to bring in money for your business. And then lastly, lesson 6, stick to your vision. I will say over the years, I've become so distracted. I've had a lot of distractions. I moved countless times. My son was born, I think my second year in business. I was in hospital bed rest and he was born. And then I ended up being a stay-at-home mom and balancing a law firm for like the first year of his life. And then I got a divorce this past year. So life has continued to happen as I've been trying to grow my business. And that's what happens. But you got to stick to your vision. There are going to be distractions. There are going to be things that are going to be thrown your way that you might not have anticipated, but you just got to stick to the vision, in your vision, not the vision that someone else has for theirs, because their vision might be their vision. And even though it might seem like a cool vision, it's not your vision. So it's important to be tunnel vision as to what it is that you're accomplishing, why you want to accomplish it, what your goals, what your timelines are, whatever it is. Just stick to your vision and don't give up. Eventually, you got to succeed. Eventually you've got to succeed. So just stick to your vision and do not give up. Okay, you got this. So I hope that you've found my lessons to be helpful today. Hope you learned something. Oops, there we go. So those are my 6 lessons in 6 years. Thank you for tuning in. This is in fact the final episode of season 1 of the Trademark Like a Boss show. So we are taking a break until 2022. So I appreciate all of your support this season. Thank you for tuning in and sharing and all of those things. If you are looking for trademark support before the end of this year, my team and I would be delighted to assist you. Feel free to reach out to me or my team, or go on our website, schedule a trademark strategy call with me so that we can get you protected and on file with the USPTO before the holidays, because holiday season gets crazy for us. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until next season, take care, guys. Bye.